By the time that this video launches, I would have released 10 new components to the Dash framework that support CI/CD pipeline, that support all of the backends, that are built to a degree of professionalism that I think is industry standard. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about a lot in this video is going to be llms.txt, right? And if you have been in software development for a little bit, you've kind of seen these around. I'm sure that you haven't seen one that looks like this. Now, why is that? Do llms.txt, do they need to be just ugly? Is that what we're limited to? Like if you go to, for example, dash main time components, which I would argue has a pretty good llms.txt. And if you look at what is this website, the llms.txt, that gives the proposal, the background, and they are trying to solve issues, but the issues that they're trying to solve is, hey, how do we get people to set up their applications to just unload all of their information in their front yard so that, Zuckerberg or, Sam Altman, they can just take and scrape everything that makes up our career. That isn't the proper way. I would want to structure a enterprise level agentic workflow and system. So this is where I have been spending most of my time. I've been thinking heavily on not just, well, hey, how do I secure the components that make up the tools that I use? Because I have some really great components and I've been able to build a lot more and a lot more effectively through what is, proper documentation. And I have so many different projects, but I think that one of the ones that you guys are going to be most interested in is going to be the new Dash leaflet project that I just released. I just created a video on it, so check it out. But in this, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can get an idea, but this is my whole application stack to give you a current perspective of where I currently sit and what my future plans are as far as how I'm going to roll out the entire network and secure it even further, and how things are kind of allowing me to create and innovate at the level that I am, right? So at the very top, you need a way to host your stuff. Ideally, I don't want to host on Render. I think it's probably one of the best cloud hosting providers. It's been really good for me. I've been able to navigate it pretty well. So, hey, kudos to you. But ideally, the way that I see these roles and what is kind of happening here, I think that the individual is going to start stepping up. And I think that you're going to have more, people like me that are going to be focused within their own communities, that are going to be able to create networks that are going to better serve, what is the public, and be able to better serve the innovator, So ideally what I'm trying to do here is structure out a pipeline alongside the architecture to just allow myself the workflow to build effectively, but then also be able to distribute it out and showcase the blueprint so that I can guide other people to what is this really powerful way of building applications. So what I'm on right now is this Agentic Hive application, which is just a drop bucket, which allows me to kind of use AI scraping and kind of create these whiteboards. But with this, on the left-hand side, I have my e-commerce application. This is connected to eBay, Stripe payment system. I have a printer over here. So if anybody decides to buy anything, it will show up. I'll send it to you. But yeah, other than that, what I'm currently on right now, this is my 2Plot Media, which I'm live streaming from, but I created a broadcast network as far as a media section within what is, this actual company. But this allows me to post the videos of what I'm creating right here. It allows me to record them in a live stream session. And I've started to integrate it, with different camera views, and I can kind of switch in between different perspectives, and I can kind of create, these little conversations with you. And this is how I'm kind of going about doing it. So with that, we have what is the main orchestration network. This is 2Plot AI. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea, let's kind of look over and under the hood of this a little bit, right? So the main orchestration is built on what I could be described as a heartbeat, right? This is an interval pace that the application that is the authentication gate that manages the individual, jobs that are kicked off from people that are basically creating generative tasks or spending money on the application. Because a lot of the tools and the way that I'm able to create these agentic workflows, I'm having to hit on AIs, I'm having to use APIs, and I'm having to structure it out in ways that are impactful. But with that, there is a metering that has to be equated in this, and I need to actually see what is the spend and be able to charge for it. So with that, we're still working out a lot of this, and right now we're just trying to get the documentation and start to pipeline and fit everything else where it needs to go. We have a pretty good lay of the land, but I could run a sweep real quick with you so you can get an idea of what's going on here. So there's a lot of action going on, but it's because I've been promoting this like crazy. And if you go down, you can kind of see this week and you can kind of see the trajectory, but this is currently a rocket ship, and we'll see how high of a rocket ship it goes. Now, I could really dive into the analytics, and there's kind of a lot going on here because there's a lot of fetching back and forth. There's bots trying to hit at me, and there's this whole interconnected web of just this new, like, it's almost like a highway, but yeah, right here I have 3 apps which are down, which is pretty good, which is, yeah, these are all fairly okay. I think this one should probably be changed, this one too, so we're getting there. And a lot of these, it's because they're on the free tier, so whenever you try to boot them, it just takes a while. But anyway, so we understand the main orchestration, which is going to be the home that all this is going to live on, which is 2plot.ai. All right, this is one domain that is going to be the authentication gate for anything that I ever build out on what is this network. Okay, so with that, it can jump in between other domains, like for example, 2plot media, what I am currently creating this video on, or 2plot.net. Or we're going to have 2plot world, 2plot shop, all this other different stuff if you ever get built out. The next, and this is what I'm currently on, and this is the focus at this moment, right? The 2plot.dev, right? This is the documentation boilerplate, which allows anybody to create and innovate like I do. This allows every single markdown to be structured out in a very clean, concise way so that there is navigation in through what is everything that I do at a level that allows an agent to not just understand what is the content it's being served, but also how to navigate throughout everything within the network. So that was the goal of trying to create something that was beautiful. Not only that, but it serves a dual purpose, because I know you're like, all right, are we getting sent in this JavaScript? You're not. It only renders as markdown for any bot that is given it. But with that, I provided a key, so if you log in with it, you can end up at higher levels of what is this tiered level documentation. So for example, yeah, you can jump into Dash Leaflet and you can learn it, right? But you could jump into an authentication version and you could get better tools from me. And we're starting to define a user to what is being extracted from the work that I'm creating. Not only that, in the way that I thought that this was a aha moment, right? The JavaScript, right? Let's go into what inspired all this. I believe I was one of the first people to come out with a llms.txt at the very start. I started making it in conversation and I brought it up in the forums a lot. But one thing that I found is this Dash application that is pretty to the human eye right now, right? You have, interactivity, you have something that in person can see, right? If I was to pass this directly to an AI agent, if I gave it through a chat bot or anything like that, it wouldn't be able to read rendered JavaScript. So for the Dash framework specifically, this was a major issue. They started to work through this by extending out the MCP, and I started to back off from that because I think that Plotly is doing a really good job with the MCP and how they're structuring out and allowing Dash applications to be accessible through the callback systems and through what is agentic workflows. But there are multiple layers to this, and one of the most neglected ones has been the llms.txt. So in this, with what is this rendered JavaScript that an AI can't see, I thought that this is a perfect way to create a gate. So this is where the real beauty is, and what is this top half of this llms.txt. And the way that this renders in a pretty way, it's not just for beauty. What I am doing here is I've created something dynamic so it is directly accessible through the applications that manage it, so that I can directly send out updates on specific components throughout the llms.txt in a dynamic way as to alert of any dependency issues or any other things that would arrive. But also, not only that, through what is this, I can also introduce, that authentication gate, jobs, more opportunity to treat an LLMs as what it is, it is like an agent to what is the network, and what I did is I created a Claude Code instance in the llms.txt and not just render a base level .text file. That's the big aha moment. So this is where I am currently navigating, moving out further. And yeah, every Joe Bro and whoever, you're going to vibe code and try to figure it out yourself. I get it. I'm not telling you to build with what I have here. But what I am trying to say is that I have built myself a boat. Okay. And every individual in everyone's workflow is going to be different. You are not segregated to a specific programming language or software. You can jump ship at any moment. But the real underlying thing is that the underlying processes that you learn from building out and fully understanding the landscape of being able to quickly build and adapt, you can spot and connect and orchestrate the workflows to allow you autonomy in what is a level of play that most people will never be able to comprehend or see. This is the beauty of AI and where this is headed. So there is another level to this, but it's not about the application you build. It's the network, and it's how you deliver it. It's how you document it. And a big part of that, it's going to be that llms.txt. So, hey, maybe I'm up shit creek and I'm BSing everything I'm saying. Check out my repos because they're all done at a professional level. I have brought in, for example, every single component, 22, checks on just this email one, where we are making sure that everything is being built out the way that it should be. Everything's accountable, everything's public, everything is dynamic, and everything is controlled by an orchestration agent rather than me having to juggle and stress for the rest of my life as I try to manage 50 applications or 100 applications. I only have one. And then that one tears down and it works down what is this network. So yeah, I hope I was able to make you think a little bit. If I did, like, subscribe, let me know. Check out some of my other content because I think I got some bangers.